You're sitting on a plane, 35,000 feet in the air. You glance out the window, round corners, smooth edges. You've probably never questioned it. But here's something wild. Those rounded windows, they're not a design choice. They're a life or death lesson written in tragedy. Because decades ago, airplane windows were square, and planes literally started falling apart mid-flight. Today, we're uncovering why every window you see on a plane has round edges, and how one of aviation's darkest chapters changed engineering forever. This is a story of ambition, disaster, and a tiny detail that now saves millions of lives. Welcome to Overdose. Let's rewind to 1952. The world was about to change. Britain unveiled the de Havilland Comet, the world's first commercial jetliner. It was sleek, fast, and revolutionary. It could fly higher and faster than any plane before it. Passengers loved it. Airlines wanted it. Britain was winning the space race of the skies. And the windows? Square, just like the windows in your house. Clean lines, modern, efficient use of space. No one thought twice about it. Why would they? Square windows had worked fine on slower, lower-flying planes. But the Comet wasn't like those planes. It was pressurized. It flew at altitudes where the air outside could kill you in seconds. And that difference, that one engineering detail, was a ticking time bomb. Then, in 1954, disaster struck. A comet disintegrated mid-flight over the Mediterranean. All 35 people on board died. Investigators searched for answers. Was it sabotage? Engine failure? They couldn't be sure. So the comet kept flying. Then it happened again. Another comet exploded in the sky. This time, investigators knew something was terribly wrong. The entire fleet was grounded. Engineers began one of the most intense investigations in aviation history. They recovered wreckage from the ocean floor. They rebuilt the plane piece by piece. And then they did something unprecedented. They built a giant water tank, placed a full Comet fuselage inside, and simulated flight after flight, pressurizing and depressurizing the cabin over and over, thousands of times. And finally, they saw it. Cracks, starting at the corners of the windows, spreading, growing, until the metal ripped apart. Here's where engineering gets fascinating. When a plane flies at high altitude, the cabin is pressurized. That means the walls of the plane are constantly pushing outward, like a balloon being inflated. Every flight, the plane expands. Every landing, it contracts. This cycle happens thousands of times. Now, imagine that pressure spreading across the metal. If the surface is smooth and round, the stress distributes evenly, like water flowing around a stone. But if there's a sharp corner, a 90-degree angle, the stress concentrates right there, like a river hitting a sharp rock. Engineers call these stress concentration points. And at the corners of square windows, stress wasn't just high, it was catastrophic. Metal is strong, but it's not indestructible. Every time the comet climbed and descended, those corners were bending, flexing, fatiguing. Microscopic cracks formed. Then they grew, flight after flight, invisible to the eye, until one day, the metal simply gave up. The fuselage tore open. The plane fell from the sky. The solution? Elegantly simple. Round the corners. Oval windows, curved edges, no sharp angles. When you eliminate the corner, you eliminate the stress concentration point. The pressure distributes smoothly. The metal doesn't crack. The plane stays whole. After the Comet disasters, every aircraft manufacturer in the world took note. Boeing, Airbus, everyone. From that moment on, airplane windows were designed with rounded edges. Not because they look better, not because they're trendy, but because square windows kill people. Here's what most passengers don't realize. That small oval window isn't just glass. It's a layered system, multiple panes, each with a specific job. The outer pane bears the pressure. The middle pane is a backup. The inner pane, the one you touch, is mostly there to protect the others and to give you something to lean on. And the tiny hole you might see at the bottom, that's a breather hole. It regulates pressure between the panes so the outer one does the heavy lifting. Every piece of that window is over-engineered for your safety, shaped by lessons learned in blood and wreckage. The de Havilland Comet never recovered. By the time the problem was fixed, Boeing had launched the 707. America dominated commercial aviation for decades. Britain's lead was gone. But the comet's legacy lived on. It taught the world that at high speed, high altitude, and high pressure, details matter. A corner you can't even see can bring down 100 tons of metal. And a curve, a simple round edge, can save lives. So the next time you're on a plane, look at that window. Those smooth, rounded edges aren't just design. They're a memorial. A reminder that engineering isn't about what looks good. It's about what works. And sometimes, it takes tragedy to teach us the difference. If this blew your mind, hit the like button. Share this with someone who loves flying or engineering. And subscribe to Overdose, because we dig deep into the hidden stories behind the things you see every day. Because the truth, it's always more intense than you think.